Welcome to this episode of Easy Astronomy with Chris, your weekly window into the universe. Brought to you by Hooked Outdoor TV. Hello, and welcome back to another Easy Astronomy with Chris. Tonight we're going to go over a couple of things. We're going to go over a product called SkyMaps, and then how we use that to see what's up in the sky for any given month. So this is April 2023, and what I highly recommend you do if you're just starting out looking at the night sky, get yourself to SkyMaps.com, and this map, which is a 2-page map, is downloadable for free, and there's a second page. But it's just a great tool. It doesn't have a ton of detail, but when you're starting out, even if you're not starting out, this is a great starting point, a great reference material just to get you started on any given night on any given month. So what you have here is a kind of a picture yourself standing in the center of this dome and then under the night sky. And I'm using my cursor here. What I do is I go out and I orient towards north. So what you do is you point your map towards north. I have a great view of the north and east and even southern skies, not so much the west, but it's okay. But I would point this towards the north, and then you should be able to identify like Cassiopeia, which is just a giant W in the sky. Draco, which almost looks like a dipper, but it's actually a long thing a long constellation that snakes through the night sky. Then Ursa Minor, which is the Little Dipper, Ursa Major, which is the Big Dipper. Anyway, the best thing to do, download this map, go outside, orient yourself towards a direction that you know, and then start looking up and using this map to kind of guide you around. One real quick thing I do want to mention, always use a red flashlight. Red light is not going to affect your night vision as badly because you always want to condition your eyes. Before you really start heavy duty observing, go outside, and you're going to need at least 20 to 30 minutes, and some people even allow themselves to adjust 45 minutes or more. But you want to allow your eyes to adjust. Your pupils dilate, but then also there's some chemical changes that go on in your retina, in your eyes, and in your brain to allow you to see better at night. And once you lose that, it takes a long time to get it back. So you want to preserve your night vision by not using your iPhone flashlight, by not using a big old mag light. Get a red flashlight. Even red duct tape taped over the end of a flashlight or around a lantern is still better, far better than a white light. Anyway, so once you've done that, let's take a look at this calendar, this sky map. It's nice because on the right-hand side here, or left-hand side, pardon me, they have all the dates and then the major astronomical events that are going on for that date. Notice we have a full moon on April 6th, and then it just kind of, you go down on the dates and you see, okay, the moon is near Spica, the moon is near Antares. You can kind of start to learn your way around the night sky by using the moon, which is a very large object. I hope you can find the full moon, and then try to identify the stars that are near it. Venus then, 2.5 on the 11th, is 2.5 degrees southeast of the Pleiades, which is a star cluster, very, very beautiful star cluster. We'll talk about the Pleiades in depth in a future episode. But you just you see the last quarter of the moon on the 13th. But what we want to pay attention about, I always pay attention, are two main things in regards to the moon. I always take note of when the full moon is. Always take note of when the new moon is. The full moon, as you all know, it's very bright. It washes out the night sky. So if you are trying to observe faint stars, faint constellations, or what we call deep sky objects, such as nebulas and galaxies and that type of thing, you'll have a real hard time doing it anywhere around a full moon. So you want to plan those kind of observations around April 20th when you have the new moon. So keep in mind that. The other thing I always look for, as soon as I download this every month, I do download this and print it out. even to this day, is I always check and see if there are any um, meteor showers, which this month on the 23rd, we have the Lyrid meteor shower, which peaks at 1 o'clock Universal Time. We'll go into a whole nother issue about time in astronomy in a future episode. But suffice it to say, if you go out on the evening of the 23rd and look in the area, then you should be able to see some meteor showers. Like this one, they say to expect 10 to 20 bright, fast meteors per hour at its peak. And then the radiant, which is where they come from. So they're generally going to kind of come from a point in the sky, a piece of the sky. And here we can tell it's between Hercules and Lyra. Okay, so then if we go over to here, to our map, you can see where Hercules is and where Lyra is. So between there, you're going to be looking kind of northeast, east to northeast to see that meteor shower, the Lyrid meteor shower on the 23rd. And that's another way that you can use your sky map. The last thing I just want to mention on this portion is April 29th is International Astronomy Day. It's a great celebration. It actually goes for a month, but that's actually the specific day. If you're online, you will see on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, that there'll be a lot of hype as we get closer to this day. But just a neat day, kind of celebrating astronomy, celebrating amateur astronomers as well as professional astronomers, but just a nice event. So that's the first page. You also have symbols down here in the lower right corner, which denote galaxies. If something is a double star, a variable star, a nebula, a planetary nebula, and what type of cluster they are. And then you have the star magnitudes, which is handy, because the bigger the dot, the brighter the star. So the brightest star in the night sky is Sirius. So if you want to see that, look towards the southwest. Okay, and you can see some of the other ones: Capella, Arcturus. Venus is obviously a planet, and that has its own little designation there. But just once again, great tool, great information on this page. Next page. On the left-hand side, it just basically gives you an overview of these pages. Also gives you tips for observing the night sky. Tells you about usually, your dark adaptation. If you need to use a torch, which is, obviously a flashlight, cover the bulb with red cellophane, protect your night vision. So that's that. We are going to go over in depth astronomical terms in a future episode, but this is really handy. They're kind of the same every month, but as things in the sky change, this does changes. But this gives you a good basic definition of what you're looking at. Then on the right side, I love this because this is tailored to all of us, anybody. You have easily seen with the naked eye objects, easily seen with binoculars objects, and telescopic objects. So easily seen with the naked eye, obviously, take your map and your red flashlight and go out and try to find Capella, try to find Arcturus, try to find Sirius. And then there's always a little blurb about them. Like Sirius, for example, is the brightest star in the sky, also known as the dog star, which I showed you where that was on the map on the previous page. So it's fun just to kind of go down, check these off, and start learning your way around specific stars. But then you get into easily seen with binoculars, and here's where you'll start to see some really, really neat things. You'll see clusters, galaxies, even nebulas. But once again, these are all on the map on the opposite page. You have its designation, which M stands for Messier. There's all sorts of abbreviations that we will get into in a future episode. But suffice it to say, these are usually some pretty good objects to observe. They're not going to be things that, when you're out with your naked eye looking up at the stars, face it, for the most part, it's a lot of pinpoints of light. But as soon as you start using some magnification with just an inexpensive pair of binoculars, 10 by 30s, 10 by 40s, remember that 10 is the objective size, The 30 is the magnification. So the 10 is how big the lens is on the other side, and on the viewing side, how much light it will gather, and the 30 is the magnification. As soon as you get above 30 or 40, unless you have a tripod, it's going to be really shaky and really hard to manage. So I do recommend that you stick with 10 by 30, 10 by 40 type binoculars, and just go down this list. You'll find a lot of great things. Then last, telescopic objects. They generally figure like a 4-inch telescope or better. That in a previous episode I talked about the little AWB One Sky 130. Great object or great telescope to view these objects in. But once again, you have the name of it, its abbreviation, what it is, and then a brief description of it. So once again, SkyMaps.com. Can't recommend this enough. Go there, download your monthly guide to the night sky, and get outside. Look up. Welcome back to Easy Astronomy with Chris. In a previous segment, we talked about night vision and how preserving that, attaining that and preserving that is critical to having a good evening out in the night sky. If you walk out on any given night and you just come out from your bright kitchen or living room and go and look up, you'll see stars, you'll see the moon. But the difference that you have if you stay out there, hang out, set up your equipment, straighten the yard, whatever, for 20, 30 minutes, you'll notice that you easily see twice as many more stars. And you start to see faint smudgies, which are the beginnings of remnants of supernovas or galaxies or that type of thing. But night adaptation, dark vision adaptation is critical. So that's why we don't use white light. We don't use flashlights. We don't use regular lanterns. So I'm just going to go over some of the things that I use to preserve night vision. First and foremost this is an inexpensive little Ozark Trail lantern from Walmart. I think this was like $9 or $10. $2 roll of duct tape, red duct tape, and boom, I have a red lantern. So the red lantern, this is super handy for when I'm setting up or tearing down or moving equipment around or changing equipment. To have this on as kind of a lighting the entire area is a great thing. And it doesn't ruin your night adaptation. And you can get varying levels of opacity by putting on more layers of duct tape. Okay, but just play around with it. But even this is going to help your night vision so much, but yet still allow you to see out. So the next thing, this is probably what I use the most when I'm actually observing. Once again, Ozark Mountain, Walmart special. You can get them on eBay, Amazon, wherever, about 13, 14 bucks. But this is a headlight that has obviously a white light, but then has a red light. So I can put this on and go hands-free and be able to be, looking at, remember we talked about the SkyMaps star chart? I can be looking at this, and finding out where I'm going. I can be using a star atlas, which many of us use star atlases. There are a million of them out there. We're going to go through that again in a future episode. But I can do all that. I can take notes. I do sketching, like I'll do astronomical sketching on a given observation session. So this allows me to do that without losing my night vision. So great, handy tool. There are also commercially available, like this is a Celestron, they call it the night vision LED flashlight. It's just a red LED flashlight, and it allows you to turn up and down the brightness, which is really handy. But I just find the hands-free version of this, or having this just set on a table somewhere, works good. I still use this. I do keep it around. It has a lanyard. You can put it over your head, so it's always there for you. But another thing. These, however, go for $19.95 to $24.95, and don't offer the convenience that these two items offer. So just keep that in mind. Last item I want to talk about, since we're talking about lighting, is astronomical laser pointer, which are green. They are green lasers, not a blue, not a red, and they are much higher power than the kiddie toys that you see in the checkout line, where you can make a laser bounce off things so your cat chases it. These are really good astronomical instruments. They are not a toy. They project very far, obviously. I can be out there with the kids, and if they can do this, they are very, very bright. I can be out there with the kids or my neighbors or at a star party and be showing people, okay, that's the Lyrids, that's the Big Dipper, that's the Little Dipper, that's Polaris, there's Orion, and it projects very strongly and it points it out very clearly. Drawback: these are not toys. The FAA does not like these. Your local police and sheriffs do not like these. You need to use caution. Never, ever point them at a vehicle, at a person, or especially at an airplane. I live in Northern California, and we just recently had someone that it wasn't an astronomer, but it was someone in their backyard that thought it was funny to flash airliners with this. And I think they flashed a CHP helicopter, and they were arrested. This is a serious infraction. It's a federal offense. They will try to track you down, and with today's technology, they can find you. So don't treat this as a toy. Don't point this at anything. Make sure you have no aircraft in the area when you're doing that, when you're using this, and have fun though. It is a great tool to use. I use this most every night when I have somebody with me, when I have a guest with me or something. So great tool. These, oh gosh, these probably go for anywhere from $40 to $100. This one's probably like about $60, but they are available at any kind of astronomy retailer. So that's a little bit about the night vision and how we point things out in the night sky. So let's just keep getting outside and look up. Welcome to this episode of Easy Astronomy with Chris, your weekly window into the universe. Brought to you by Hooked Outdoor TV.